Okay, 6 years wanted to run through corrections for the work that I've given you today. So question 6, question 7 are really similar. So I decided just to go with question 7 because it's a little bit trickier than question 6. So yeah, hopefully you'll be able to use question 7 to correct question 6 if you need to. So we'll run through this and see how we get on. We can see the question on the left hand side. The farmer wants to enclose 2 rectangular paddocks which are equal in area. So first of all we're saying that that and that are the same size. They have the same area, okay? And you can see that I've marked that here. 1 and 2 are equal. A river runs alongside both paddocks. You can see that at the top there. And the farm has 300 meters of fencing. So I know that the bits that I'm marking in red now, this plus this plus this plus this, all of those together all have to be added up to equal to 300, okay? So first part, it asks if x represents the length from the river and y represents the width, show that y is equal to 150 minus 3 over 2x. Now again, they give you the answer. They tell you what you should get. So if I don't get that, I've made a mistake. So all I'm doing is I'm going to pop in all the values that I know. As I said, x plus x plus x plus the 2 y's, y and y there, because y is for that bit and another y for that bit, is equal to 300. All of those things added together gives me 300 meters. So I can bring the x's over, they become minus 3x as I've done there. So you end up with 300 minus 3x is equal to 2y. And then I divide that. 300 divided by 2 gives me 150, and 3x divided by 2 gives me 3 over 2x. Okay, I've just divided each part by 2. And again, that looks exactly like the question asked, so I'm happy. Part 2, find in terms of x the area of one of the paddocks. So I want to know what the area is. I want it just in terms of x. I could say that xy is the area of one of those paddocks because it's x times y. But I don't want it in terms of x and y. I just want it in terms of x, as the question has said. So I'm going to use what I got in the last question to do that. Okay, so I can write, instead of y, I can write 150 minus 3 over 2x. So the way to do that, all I got to do is multiply x by 150 minus 3 over 2x, because you can see this here is y. That's the same as 150. Let's go back. 150 minus 3 over 2x, if you want to put it there. So I multiply those out and I end up with that, and that's my area of one of the paddocks, okay? 150x minus 3 over 2 x squared, or 3x squared over 2, whatever way you want to say it, but they're both correct. So then finally, last bits on that, find the value of x that maximizes the area. So this is the same way that we've done lots and lots of problems. I have my area, I get my first derivative, I put it equal to 0, and then I solve for x. Okay, so we've done that a few times now. So I've got my area value all in terms of x. I differentiate it, so 150x becomes 150, and minus 3 over 2x, again you bring the 2 down from the power, put it in front, multiply it, those 2's cancel as you can see, and we're left with minus 3x. So I've got 150 minus 3x is equal to 0, and then I solve for x to get 50, and that represents 50 meters, remember. Okay, I didn't put my unit in, so I'm making sure I do it now. So I now know what x is in the maximum area. Then finally it asks in part 4, what is the maximum area? So I know that x is equal to 50 meters, and I know that I can figure out the area of this whole thing by using the info that I've got. So I know that those values are x, which is 50, and I know that these values are y. Okay, now the way I've done it is I've worked out what y is, and then all I got to do is x by 2y. So if I figure out what y is, now that I know what x is 50, I go back to what I got at the very first part of this question. If I know what x is, I can figure out what y is. Y is equal to 150 minus 3 over 2x. So you sub in your x value, which is 50. You can see I've done all this here, and you multiply out and you do your subtraction, you end up with y is equal to 75. So then to finish that off, you can see I've got it there. X multiplied by 2y. Remember, I'm looking at the thing. I'm going to do it in a different color here. I've got x multiplied by 2y, because there's two of them there, would give me the area of that whole paddock. Okay, the two parts added together. So I do 50 by 150 in that case, and that gives me it gives me my answer of 7,500 meters squared. And again, we're talking about area, so it's got to be meters squared. Don't forget your units. Question 8. This one, again, a little bit trickier because it gives you a different shape, but just as straightforward in terms of how to do it and what to do. Just gives us a little bit extra to do. So we've got our sports area like a running track, it looks like. And we've got semicircles at the end here and here, as I've written. Okay, here and here. The shaded area, the bits that I've drawn in, form a circle. So that's two semicircles coming together to give us one full circle, if you think about it that way. Alright, we know that the perimeter is 1400 meters. So the way to look at this and the way I've drawn it, well, I've drawn it up there and I'm going to redraw it now down here, just so we can make sure that we're clear on what's being said. My perimeter is a full lap around that. As I said, imagine it's a running track, full lap around that running track. So I have to go y and y. So that's the two lengths, the two straights, and then I have to do the two bends. Okay, now again, that's a semicircle and that's a semicircle, so the two of them together would give me one full circle. So I got to think about that. And how do I get the length of a circle, or the perimeter of a circle? I use my circumference formula, which is 2 pi r, and I know that r represents my radius, so remember that. Okay, hopefully you do. Now you can see that I put that there. R is equal to x over 2. It's half of x, because x is the diameter of the circle. X is there, it's the diameter of the circle, so half of that would be my radius. So you can see that I've gotten y plus 2 pi r, and I have that written there. Now r is x over 2, so I'll fill that in. I end up with this, and then I simplify it, so I know that 2y plus pi x is equal to my perimeter, which is 1400 meters. So I can write 2y plus pi x is equal to 1400. Alright, so this bit here is part 1 done. Part 2 asks to express y in terms of x. So I want y equals something with x in it. So you can see what I've done here. I brought the pi x over to the other side of the equals, it becomes a minus, and then I just divided by 2, and I ended up with that. I could alternatively write it like that. I do 1400 minus 2 would give me 700 minus pi over 2x. Both of them are the same. Okay, what I've got underlined there and that are exactly the same. It's just that I've done the maths in there. So that's that done. In part 3, what would the dimensions of the sports area be if the rectangular field is to have as large an area as possible? So same idea. I'm looking for maximum, as large an area as possible. I write down my formula for area. Remember, now the way I do it, I know that that is y, what I've just worked out in part 2. So I have to multiply that by x to get the area of the rectangular part, because I'm doing y times x to get the rectangular area here on the left hand side. Yeah, so I put that in terms of one another. I'm using this as y and this is x there, so I do x by y, and that gives me this answer here, 700x minus pi over 2x squared. That's my formula for area of the rectangular part. I differentiate it here, I put it equal to 0, and I solve for x. And again, the question asks to 1 decimal place. Please don't forget it. That's why I've written it again here. And then I use my formula for y to work out what y is. Okay, so I now have x as 222.8, and I have y as 350. Again, both in meters. Last one, question 10. Now I'd ask you to give this one a crack, and it's quite tricky based on the reading of it. Okay, so we have Liffey Appliances is marketing a new washing machine. It determines in order to sell X machines, the price per machine must be that formula. So that's what I've got. Price is equal to that. It also determines that the cost is C of X. Cost is equal to that. So I know price, I know cost. Part 1 asks, find R of X, the total revenue received. Think about that now, okay? Total revenue received is the amount of money that I make based on the amount of machines that I sell. So I know that the price per machine is this value up the very top, 440 minus 0.3x. And it's telling me in the question, I want to sell X machines. So I am selling X amount of machines, and the price is that per machine. So the way to do it, all I got to do is I do X multiplied by the 440 minus 0.3x. Done. Okay. It also says, it tells me in the question, your answer will be a quadratic expression. I've got an x squared in there, so I have a quadratic expression. So I'm very happy. Okay, 2 ticks. That's why we got them there. Part 2. Find the profit function. And it tells me what to do. Profit is equal to revenue minus cost. All right. So I have all of those. Profit is going to be revenue minus cost. So I just fill that in. So you've got them, okay? Sorry, cost is that one. Excuse me. I highlighted the wrong one. There, cost, okay? So we've got revenue, 440x minus 0.3x squared, which is the thing that we just worked out in the previous part, minus our cost. And it's given to us there. Now you can see I've got minus and a set of brackets around that, because the minus is going to affect that and that. All right, and you can see that underneath we've got minus 6,000 now, and we've got minus 0.5x squared. I'll put together the terms that I can. X squareds with x squareds gives me this. X's are on their own, so there's no other ones, and numbers at the end. I want it to look like a quadratic function as it usually does, and that's what I end up with. So I've got minus 0.8x squared, minus 6,000, plus 440x minus 6,000. Done. Okay. And then that's all that's being done. That's the profit function. I don't need to solve for x just yet. Part 3 asks, how many machines must be produced to maximize profit? Same time, maximum value. I get my first derivative, p prime of x. So I'm using my profit function. I get my first derivative. I put it equal to 0. It's equal to 0 at a maximum. That's what the question asks. And then I solve for x. So this is telling me that's 275. That is telling me that I must sell 275 machines to make maximum profit. Okay. And then finally, what is the maximum profit? I got to use that. My maximum profit is when I sell 275 machines. So I go back to my profit formula. I pop in my x value of 275 and I substitute it in straight into the calculator if you're not too hot on that, and I end up with a number, 54,500. And again, that's euros. I'm talking about profit, I'm talking about money, I'm talking about euros. Okay, so that's the 3 of those done. Hopefully they make a bit more sense. Pause them, look at them, rewind, figure out what bits you've made your mistakes on, and hopefully you'll be in a good spot moving forward. Thank you.